Hey there, I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick, Miss Lydia!
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's National Poetry at Work Day, Tony. You got to have a poem for me.
Let's see. Roses are red, poinsettias are redder. You're great at this show, but Pablo is better.
Oh!
Well, that's actually pretty good.
Oh, that's so funny. Who's Pablo?
Pablo Torre?
Never heard of him.
He sits in your seat every once in a while.
Does he?
Yeah.
Is that why the seat is like always 7 feet tall when I get back?
Well, you got to be this high to ride on this ride.
Okay.
That's how it works. Yeah. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. And today's episode is Georgia still the future? Should Jalen Hurts stay put? And will Bill Belichick really stay with the Patriots? But we begin today with Alabama's surprising victory last night after being down 13-0 at the half and 20-7 deep into the third quarter. In hindsight, the critical act came at halftime when Nick Saban benched his quarterback Jalen Hurts in favor of a true freshman Tua Tagovailoa. It's hard for me to say. Wilbon, who deserves more credit, the quarterback who saved the game or the coach who made the move to him?
You can't have one without the other. So if this is toss-up, I push.
Okay.
You can't have one without the other. I mean, if he doesn't put the quarterback in the game, if the coach doesn't have the guts to do that, then the kid can't be the hero. And if Saban says, I'm going to the pen, and the kid is no good, and the kid threw a pick early on in the first series, by which time I'm presuming you were asleep, then it doesn't matter either. So Saban, I remember when the notion came up, somebody mentioned it on the air before half, and I just thought, wow, this kid is 25-2, Jalen Hurts, as a starter. Do you really take him out? What happened to dancing with the partner who brung you and all that other silly cliched stuff? And he goes to him and it works. It's stunning. But you can't have one without the other.
Well, I'm not going to push, and I'm going to say it's Nick Saban. And I'm going to say that Nick Saban is a conservative man, and he runs a conservative offense where he likes to run more than he passes.
Too conservative, he thought.
But he's a real leader. And what leaders have to be occasionally is bold. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to rescue the situation. And that's exactly what he did. And he took that risk knowing that if it didn't work, he was going down on it, right? It was not going to work at all. You and I have been sports writers a long time, though we aren't anymore. We've been to thousands of games in our lives. I've never seen this. This kid took you to 2 straight national championship games. I had not seen that.
Well, I've seen that. Not in a national championship situation. We just talked about this. Frank Wright coming off the bench down 31-0 in the Orange Bowl from Maryland. It wasn't a national championship. It wasn't. But I've seen it. Now, let's go back to this. I don't give a damn how bold and charismatic and leader-driven Nick Saban is, and he is everything you said and more.
Yeah.
If that kid comes out there and has stage fright and can't bounce back from that interception, okay, you lose.
Then you lose. But it's the risk. The kid didn't take the risk. Saban took the risk.
Tony,
and
that kid's throwing that final pass of that game, looking off the safety.
So let's go to that for a second.
He's a freshman, and he executed this play.
Let's go to that for a second. If you tell me that Alabama's kicker is going to miss a last-second game-winning field goal,
40 yards,
which means he can't kick in the overtime because you don't trust him.
He was going to.
And then you're going to tell me that they get a kick of about 87 yards, right? And then 55. You have a freshman quarterback who's never played like this before, and he just got planted 25 yards back at the line of scrimmage. 16. And then I'm going to tell you Georgia's going to win. They're going to win that game. I know.
And you know why at that point?
The kid goes Andy Dalton plus 15. I couldn't believe it. I can't believe it.
Great. It's just unbelievable, except if you're Georgia. So this is 6 national championships for Nick Saban, tying him with Bear Bryant, the most famous name in college football. 6 titles, and Saban has a freshman quarterback who looks like the best quarterback Alabama's had in decades, and uber-talented freshmen or sophomores stocking most, if not all, positions. Tony, what chance is there some school, any school, will wrest control of college football from Nick Saban and Alabama?
I think there's a real chance. I would point to the fact that Clemson didn't beat him this year, but did beat him last year, albeit on the last play. I'd point to the fact that we looked at Georgia last night and thought Georgia was going to win. Look, this is what's going to drive Nick Saban out of football, that somebody is eventually going to beat him. In the SEC now, every time there's a coaching opening, They take Saban's assistant.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is somebody
against whom he's 12-0.
12-0, but a diminishing margin.
Okay.
A diminishing margin.
Beats him.
Somebody, probably one of his assistants, likely Kirby Smart. Somebody's going to do it, and Saban will always be in the thick of it. He will, because he's great, but he's not going to.
We're going to have real disagreement.
He's 12-0 against his assistants. You think he'll be 24-0?
We got real disagreement. Look, you can beat him once. I said wrest control of college football, which Nick Saban has. Nobody's doing that. Not for the next few years. He's got a freshman quarterback. Okay, so we're going 2-3 years. Okay. How many years you want to go? You want to go 14 till Nick Saban's in a rocker?
No,
I mean,
but you can't just go 2 years.
5. Then nobody's taking control.
I think they will by 5.
No, you know why? You know why, Tony? Because everybody wants to go there. He's already got the best players. You know, we'll get to Jalen Hurts in a second. Jalen Hurts, there might not be any room for him because he's got a freshman running back too. Everywhere you look, he's stacked. The cupboard is full. No one's taking control of it.
Here's the difference, because I think we can equate him and Belichick together. Because they may be the best. Yeah. Both of them may be the best. And in fact, if you said they were the best, you would not be embarrassed.
So you can't argue against it. Hard to.
The difference with Belichick is that you can have in the pros Tom Brady for 15 years. But the door revolves in college, and you're recruiting against all these other great colleges as well. I just think it's harder to stay on top in college for that length of time.
But this guy may be the greatest coach of all time in his sport.
Yes, and Belichick may be in his.
Yeah.
The forgotten man in last night's game is Jalen Hurts, who was replaced at halftime.
That betrayals.
Hurts was devoutly supportive of the player who took his place and appeared to sincerely appreciate the victory. But now comes the reality for Hurts. Wilbon, if you were Jalen Hurts, would you stay at Alabama or would you leave?
Well, I'm going to take a look at everything. But let me make the case for staying, because we just saw this with Ohio State. Oh, somebody's got to transfer. They got 3 quarterbacks when they come back in the summer. No. Jalen Hurts is not going to play quarterback for many other teams because Jalen Hurts doesn't throw it that well.
That's right.
Nick Saban said live on television, we had to throw the ball, and I thought this kid could throw the ball better, and that's why he put him in despite 25-2.
That's right.
So you look and see if you can play running back. My God, what a great wildcat you would make as a threat when you are in there in the backfield, okay, with the new quarterback, and you can run it or throw it yourself. Maybe he's not that great a runner, but maybe he is. If I get some sort of feel that Nick Saban's interested in that, I stay.
I don't think Nick Saban wants him to go by any means. I think if you're Jalen Hurts, you ask yourself, what is the end game here? What do I want? Because you and I will both agree, though we're not pro scouts, he doesn't look to have an NFL
playing pro quarterback.
Right, so that's not going to happen. So he may end up like Terrell Pryor, who goes into the pros and becomes a wide receiver. Yeah. Braxton Miller, another Ohio State quarterback, becomes a wide receiver. Now, people transfer. Russell Wilson went from North Carolina State to Wisconsin.
Yeah, but that was after 4 years.
He
just
started
went for
3.
1 year.
He started for 3.
Okay, but
Malik
he was
Zaire,
a quarterback.
He went to Florida from Notre Dame.
Right.
What does Jalen Hurts want? Because what I think he can be is a guy like Charlie Ward, a guy like Eric Crouch. He can, if he wants to leave Alabama, there's a lot of. His record is so good. And by the way, he's this year 17 touchdowns and only 1 interception.
When the offensive player of the year last year,
so you can go someplace really good and work for the national championship.
Ooh.
You can.
For the national championship? You going to come back and beat Alabama? Really?
You have a chance. Everybody has a chance. Or you can go to Lane Kiffin, who recruited him at Florida Atlantic. That's possible.
You could play get to the Peach Bowl.
He's already won a national championship. He may want to just win.
I'm just saying.
Do you think he wants to sit or do you think he wants to play?
But the question is, can he play at Alabama?
I'm not sure of that anymore. Are you?
No, you can't be sure. He's got he and his people got some figuring out to do.
Well, I asked him, what would you do? And of course you ducked it.
I told you.
You ducked it.
Try to stay. To the question of whether he intends to be back as coach of the Patriots, Bill Belichick, your boy, said this morning, quote,
my boy.
Absolutely. The crying and whining you now hear is coming from New York City, Tony, where the tabloids have been running back page pics of Belichick in Giants garb. Your people. So, does that settle it, Tony? Is a guy who's been lied to on just such questions.
Nick Saban.
Do you, without hesitation, believe this is the end of that story?
No. There's never an end to the story in the age of Twitter. A lot of people in this country believe Barack Obama was born in Kenya. It doesn't end. So what will happen is, at some point, Belichick will leave the Patriots, and at some point, Brady will leave the Patriots, and 30 to 50% of the people will say, you see, I told you so. I told you so. So that's just the reality in the age we live in.
So you think this is going to pop up over and over again?
I think that the sort of banishment of Alex Guerrero is a good story to recycle time and time again.
Yeah.
If Brady does really well or does really poorly, you have Bill Belichick making a denial that he's going to leave next year. Why would he leave? He's sitting on the best team.
I know, but
why would he leave?
Belichick is a guy who doesn't feel he needs to answer anything ever. I mean, he could be called before some sort of Senate Judiciary Committee, and he'd wear a hood, and he'd bite on a program, and he just wouldn't answer the question. He would say, on to Cincinnati.
Well, he would say that, but they would say on to jail because they have subpoena power.
That would be funny, wouldn't it? So he doesn't feel he has to answer anything.
But he did answer.
But he did. Yeah. And to me, when Belichick gives that sort of answer, he's speaking to, first of all, he's trying to rally his team. He wants his team to win one for the Gipper this weekend, even though they need no such. If they just awake, and we'll get to that later, they're going to win this game. But Belichick knows what he's doing when he answers that question like that, that forcefully. Yeah. So I think it sort of is over.
No, it's not over.
I think it is.
It's not over. It's like when Robert Kraft denied everything. Right. But he always denies everything. Some years back, he said, I'll never leave Massachusetts, and he was trying to make a deal with Hartford. You remember that? So, I mean, this is modus operandi. This is the age in which we live in that no story ever dies. No story ever dies. And by the way, in sports journalism now, and we're all part of this, you don't need fire. You just need more smoke. But that's all you need.
He didn't tweet. He's like you.
Tweet.
Barkley, Belichick.
Don't tweet.
That's it. The killer bees.
Well, I'm not a bee.
No, you're not a bee.
The Cleveland Cavaliers were thumped last night in Minnesota, adding insult to injury midway through the third quarter, down 30. Let me repeat, down 30. Isaiah Thomas, your boy, clotheslined Andrew Wiggins and later claimed, and I quote, I've gotten numerous steals like that. It just happened that I hit him in the throat, unquote. Thomas was given a flagrant 2 and ejected from the game. Wilbon, should Isaiah Thomas be suspended?
No. Can we have context? We on this show, you and I appreciate context. There's context to everything which doesn't exist in Twitter land. I'm not sure millennials know what context is. But Isaiah Thomas has some context to his career. He didn't do that.
He did it. I watched it.
Meaning multiple times. Not a repeat offender.
He just did it once.
History and context. Mm-hmm. Isaiah Thomas is good. He was thrown out. He should have been thrown out. Yeah. It should have been a flagrant 2. That's fine. Okay, let's not make a big deal out of this because this is no deal at all.
Okay. First of all, I enjoy the fact that he says he gets a lot of steals like that because
swiping up.
Yeah, it's over his head. So that means that people have to dribble the ball 6 feet in the air to do that, which they actually don't. Second of all, I did hope that he would say, that's not me, and I could have said it is you because I saw you. I think he should be suspended.
Why?
Because I think the rules need to apply universally. He clotheslined a guy.
Okay, he got thrown out.
Yeah, but
there's no history.
Doesn't that carry suspension sometimes?
If there's history, he's not a recidivist. Come on. Are you even a hanging judge now?
I mean, one day.
Isaiah Thomas.
He doesn't even play back to back.
He did the swim move, and he came up on somebody's neck. So throw him out of the game. They threw him out. If they hadn't thrown him out, you could say, wait a minute, you got to get a game.
By the way,
they tossed him.
Did you see LeBron's number, minus 39?
Yeah, what did it?
10 points and minus 39?
You said they'll be there in May. When it gets warm, they'll be there.
Then why are we even talking about them now?
I don't know.
Let's take a break. Coming up, the Falcons are favored against the Eagles, but should they be?
Come on, let's try to swim move at once. The Raiders introduce John Gruden as their new head coach. Who's got the brighter future in that little plot of land, by the way? The Raiders or the Niners?
Gruden and Mark Davis go to the same barber. Don't you think? Who's your barber?
I don't touch hairdos on men.
Pardon the Interruption is brought to you by Domino's. Oh, yes, we did.
Help protect what matters with the ADT Safer, Smarter New Year's sales event. For a limited time, get an ADT Security Starter Kit. Everything you need to get started with ADT Pulse, including a security panel, keypad, a motion sensor, and 2 entry sensors. Plus, there's an indoor camera and key fob all professionally installed for only $49. It's a $599 savings that comes with the warm, confident feeling of safety at home. Requires 36-month monitoring contract, QSP, and Easy Pay. Activation and early termination fees may apply. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com. Florida EF 0001121. Louisiana F1639. Visit ADT.com/podcast. Hurry. This special offer now ends 1/21.
The game is toss-up, the questions are tough, and the winner is winking at you right now.
Lana Turner winking somewhere?
What's first?
Toss-up, who do you favor, the Falcons or the Eagles?
I think you have to favor the Falcons. I think you have to favor the Falcons.
Eagles playing at home.
The Falcons get a break in the weather.
Yes, they
It's going to be about 50 degrees outdoors in Philadelphia. The Falcons just went on the road and beat the Rams, who had their number one quarterback.
Yeah.
Now they're going on the road to have a team that has its number 2 quarterback, Nick Foles. If I'm honest about this, I'm rooting actually for the Eagles. I think that they run it well.
You know you're rooting for I-95.
No, I think they run it well. I think they defend well. And I would like to see Nick Foles turn the narrative around. I would like to see that.
You know, I'm sort of rooting for the Eagles. And because of you and all your people of Eastern ilk, I tend to root against all the I-95 teams whenever possible.
I know.
However, I'm sort of rooting for Foles in this. Here's a guy who went 27-2 4 years ago, meaning touchdowns and interceptions.
Yeah.
He was a starting quarterback. He actually could wear the mantle. And so I'm sort of thinking, wow, what a great story it would be if he just sort of upholds this after a delayed period of time
Atlanta should
and
be
plays
favored.
great.
It's right.
It's a pick-em game.
And by the way, Atlanta, no, I don't think it's pick-em.
You don't think so?
Atlanta has an I-95 quarterback, Matt Ryan, from BC. Next.
Toss-up more likely to pull the upset, the Titans or the Jaguars?
Pay close attention here. Neither is likely. Okay?
Not likely.
Neither's likely.
Neither's even in the game. Neither's in the stadium.
Tennessee has no chance to stop Rob Gronkowski. None, zero. So they are not going to win. So by process of elimination, Jacksonville has a better chance by virtue of the fact that Jacksonville went to Pittsburgh earlier in the year, intercepted Ben Roethlisberger 5 times, twice in a pick-6 situation. Now, do I think they're going to beat Pittsburgh? Of course not. But I didn't think they'd beat them the last time either.
There is better chance that you are going to grow a bright red afro.
Like the old days.
Yeah, like the old days. By the end of this show.
Like when Lana Turner loved me.
That's right.
Right. Lana Turner referenced by you.
She's been dead since 1994.
My God, nobody knows who she is.
So, did either of these two teams being in the game? They're not in the game. Pittsburgh already lost to them. That's not happening again.
No chance.
Stop it.
Next.
Toss up, who would you rather see advance, the Saints or the Vikings?
I really like the Saints. Unlike you, I really like Sean Payton. Like you, I love Drew Brees.
Yeah, I do.
They run, they pass, they defend better than they have in 10 years.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me, honestly, that thinks it would be very cool if Minnesota won and won all the way to the Super Bowl and would be a home team. And I don't think that's ever happened, playing in your own home stadium, your actual home stadium.
Not the stadium.
Your own home stadium and having a chance at the Super Bowl. But it's hard for me not to root for the Saints.
I'm rooting for the Vikings. And I'm rooting for them, I don't know, I hope they dedicate the game to Prince. I'm rooting for people in the great Midwest.
How about
I'm rooting
Bud
for the
Grant?
Minnesota Vikings.
See Bud Grant at the coin toss?
But he can't freeze anymore because the game is indoors.
We'll put him outside.
Right. Put Bud outside with a small camera.
With a cam.
We're taking a selfie.
A GoPro.
Ice fishing. I'm rooting for Minnesota in this, and you should be too.
I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be cool. Right. Next.
Last one. Toss up. Brighter future. The Raiders or the Niners?
All right, 6 months ago, I would have definitely said the Raiders. I thought the Raiders were really on the rise. They got Derek Carr. They got Amari Cooper. They got Michael Crabtree. But 2 things happened this year that I didn't see coming. 1, they tanked. And
the coach got fired.
That's right. And 2, the 49ers signed Jimmy Garoppolo. They haven't signed Jimmy Garoppolo, but they traded for him. And he looks like a franchise quarterback. Now, John Gruden going back to Oakland is probably big to ignite an offense. He's a total offensive guy.
And he's got the weapons.
But the 49ers won their last 5 in a row. So I'd say just slightly right now, they're ascending.
Well, but you don't even know if Garoppolo's going to be there. That's the problem.
I don't.
So are you totally pushing away the story that Coach Hoodie could go to New York and wind up getting Garoppolo? Come on, you're a New Yorker. You're not invested in that.
If he was 10 years younger, that might be exciting. No.
Garoppolo, if he goes back to San Francisco, this becomes a dead heat toss-up situation.
Right. Well, that's
short of that, then it'll be John Gruden because he's got some weapons already, and they're going to rebound. They're not going to have this bad a season again with Gruden.
That's it. We're going to take one last break, but still to come. The Panthers make some big changes on offense. Should Cam Newton be happy?
Maybe a little. And would Stan Van Gundy be right to stop talking to this network because of its LeVar Ball coverage?
Who cares?
I've ripped the LeVar Ball coverage. Yeah. I have.
Oh, I haven't? Did you sit with me yesterday?
You just agreed with me.
No. What?
I've been doing it for months.
Check the tape. Check the tape. At the time, people have the 25th birthday Marcus Peters, the talented and tumultuous corner for the Kansas City Chiefs. Like his team, Peters had large ups, including intercepting Marcus Mariota in the wild card game, and large downs, like being benched by Andy Reid after Peters threw a penalty flag into the stands and walked off the field during the game.
Andy Reid would have looked even better if they had won that playoff game with what he did to Peters late in the regular season by benching him and his team responding and winning, Tony. Got turned around.
Which they did for a couple of weeks.
They did.
Happy anniversary, North Dakota State. On this day 2 years ago, Carson Wentz returned from a broken wrist that had shelved him since October to lead the Bison to a fifth straight 1AA championship.
Amazing.
Last year, James Madison beat North Dakota State, ending that streak. But this past weekend, even without Wentz, North Dakota State got James Madison back. Take heart, Nick Foles.
And the quarterback now, Tony, his name, you'll love this, Easton Stick. You like that?
Easton Stick?
Yeah.
Not Weston Stick?
No, Easton.
Wow. Happy trails, Mike Shula and Ken Dorsey. The Carolina Panthers got rid of their offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach today. Shula, as offensive coordinator and previously quarterbacks coach, had been with Cam Newton every day since Carolina drafted him. Dorsey, as quarterbacks coach, had been with Newton the last 4 seasons. Wilbon, what does this mean for Cam Newton?
Well, Tony, first of all, those guys got to a Super Bowl, so they ought to be commended. But I think there's a much more dynamic offense out there waiting for Cam Newton and my man from Stanford. I think if they do this right, their offense ought to take a step up. I do.
Do you have a specific person in mind that you want to give that job to?
I can't give my notes away. I can't.
No errors today, so we go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Steelers safety Mike Mitchell says his team will beat New England next time they play. Are you okay with that comment?
Yeah, I don't care what the Steelers say. Beat New England or shut up. Just do it. Stan Van Gundy says ESPN's coverage of LeVar Ball may lead him to not talk to the network during the Pistons' January 19 game. You like that plan?
Who cares? Who really cares? Why are the Pistons on national television? What do they have? And does this mean that Stan Van Gundy will puff himself up and not talk to his brother Jeff? Really?
You gotta talk to Jeff.
Really?
Huh?
Where does Jeff work? Zach LaVine will make his Bulls debut on Saturday night against the Pistons. What do you expect?
I expect some L's, and I expect Zach LaVine to become the best player on the new Bulls, a team I'm falling in love with.
Will Van Gundy speak to him?
Maybe. Be tampering. David Beckham is launching his own line of grooming products. It's called House 99. First of all, what the hell does that mean?
I have no
Are you
idea.
going to try them?
No.
Why not?
They're aimed at people much younger
Beckham.
than I think that Beckham's been in the fashion business for quite some time.
For work?
And I think that people
Sales?
like him. I think people
Like his wife, maybe better?
I think they like him.
Okay.
Last one, college basketball. Number 8, Texas Tech at number 9, Oklahoma tonight. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Trae Young in Oklahoma. They have about 18 assists in that game.
Ron Kruger's the coach, right? Yeah. Ron Kruger, am I right on that? We're out of time. Trying to do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
And I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the PTI podcast on the app or Apple Podcast.
Half hour. That's what we're good at. Elizabeth and Ron, good luck.
PTI.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I feel like I'm on top of the world.
Disclaimer, you will not be transported to the top of the world. In the unlikely event you find yourself at the Arctic Circle, seek shelter from the elements immediately to avoid frostbite and or hypothermia. Geico will not be responsible if you find yourself in a cave or crevasse with a lonely abominable snowman, who in all likelihood will force you to play games including but not limited to Go Fish, charades, Chinese checkers, or his personal favorite, Red Rover, send Yeti on over. Geico is not liable for any damages, either physical or emotional.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.